Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Hasbro Tuesday. Today, we are currently on Hasbro Series 10. This is the third release back in 1994, and as we know, there were only 11 series for Hasbro, so this is the second to last series. But don't be too saddened because, as you guys know, I have been talking about do adding a couple additional episodes to this run. So once we complete Series 11, I am going to include both a mailway slash prototype episode. I am also going to throw in an additional episode where we're kind of going to look at a few additional lines, namely Grapples and Gimmicks, Mattel Retros, as well as Zombie Sailors. And that video is going to kind of include figures that should have been part of the Hasbro Series 12 run had Hasbro actually produced a 12th series. So that's going to be the unreleased Hasbro Series 12. Also, guys, last week, right after I produced, or what after I submitted episode 11, or episode 9, excuse me, I put out a poll on the YouTube community page and I asked the question: once I complete Hasbro Tuesday, do you guys still want me to continue with this particular show? Do you still want Hasbro Tuesday to continue? Basically, it'll still continue with this sort of outline, but instead of obviously looking at regular figures, we will look at my custom Hasbro figures because I got a million of them. The other option is basically kind of continue the same setup, but we'll look at other toy lines, i.e., AWA Remco's, LJN Wrestling Superstars, WCW Galoobs, etc. So right now, I think at last check, it's pretty split 50-50 for the most part. So not a lot of people are voting. I think I got like 10 votes or something. And anytime I put up a poll, that seems pretty common. I don't get a lot of votes. It usually hovers between 10 and 11 votes. So but anybody that's watching this video, please go onto the community page and vote so I kind of have a general idea of what you guys are interested in watching. So, uh, depending on how many votes I get, I might continue Hasbro Tuesday with the customs. I might still do another toy line, but I just might use a different day for those videos. I don't know, but I prefer to keep it to just one general day, make it a little bit easier on myself. But Hasbro's Series 10, third release again back in 1994. We are back on Blue Card in Series 10. I've been kind of complaining about this series because there are a couple of characters, namely Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. How do we break this series down? Is it 10 figures released in Series 10? Is it 8 figures released in Series 10? Why? Because you have 8 releases this series, but they also came back and they gave you a black Razor Ramon, black vest with red trunks, the same exact figure that you got in Series 7 on yellow card, which they re-released on blue card, on top of his purple Razor Ramon initial release. And you also got a white Shawn Michaels, white pants with red hearts, which you got back in Series 7, on top of his black Shawn Michaels with black pants and silver hearts. So how are you classifying that? Me, when I look at my loose display shelf, I'm only looking at 8 figures on the display shelf. But when I'm looking at the mint on card, I'm looking at 10 figures, right? So, but that's what we're gonna look at today. Also, I wouldn't call it a love hate relationship with this series, but when I'm looking at these characters, 8 characters, there's really just not a whole lot that I know about a lot of these characters. Like Giant Gonzalez, he wasn't in WWF very long. I think probably less than a year. Like I'm one of those weird people who actually enjoyed his character. So, but there just wasn't a lot of time to really enjoy him, and he didn't wrestle a lot, so I don't know a lot about him. Head shrinkers, I watch them. I just don't have a lot of memories about them. So, I mean, their figures don't mean a whole lot to me, not really, and they're jumpers. So, but they're actually better jumpers than most figures. So, and Bushwhackers, we already know the Bushwhackers because you look at Series 2, they're like the figures themselves, they don't stand on their own that well, so that sucks. So I really don't enjoy that aspect. When you look at this series, I mean, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty are really like the only top figures. And yeah, I mean, John Gonzalez is already a top 10 best Hasbro figure. We already know that, but still. But let's take a look at the figures. And the figure I want to start off with, I'm going to keep these in order the way that I have them on the door over there. So this one is of the head shrinkers, Samu, and he comes with the Samu Shocker. Now, again, I don't know a lot about the head shrinkers, but head shrinkers and Wild Samoans, and I think The Rock, and all of I think Roman Reigns. I think all of these guys, they all came from the same exact family. So I think Yokozuna, they all come from the same family. They probably have like 30 or 40 different guys that probably wrestle in WWF. So one of the largest, I always butcher their name. I'm gonna try and pronounce it again. The Noe family. Again, that's how I pronounce it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but they have one of the most predominant families in professional wrestling. When I talk about wrestling royalty, they're like right at the top of the list. When you talk about wrestling royalty, you got the NOEs, and then you got the families that fall right under them, right? The Ortons and the Harts and the Rhodes, etc. So, but Series 10, and I've been noticing this in the last few series. You're moving away from showing off all of these different characters that have appeared in multiple series, and now you're just showing off the figures that are part of that respective series. And here, I mean, they're only showing 6 characters. They're not even showing 8 characters. Like they're not even showing Razor Ramon or Shawn Michaels on the back of this card. So they're not even showing off the new release Black Pants, Shawn, or Purple Razor Ramon. So I kind of find that interesting myself. I find that very interesting. I would love to have a conversation with someone from Hasbro, someone who designed these figures back in the day, and kind of find out the story of why they only had 6 characters on the back. I mean, you have been producing 6 characters, series 6 through series 9. Why couldn't you just stop at 6 characters in series 10, kept that pattern going? I mean, I'm glad we got more than just 6 characters here in series 10, and I'm thrilled to have gotten a Black Pants Shawn Michaels. One of the 4 best Hasbro figures of all time, right? So, but it's just curious about that. And and I got the right one. I always get the head stringers mixed up. This is Samu, and of course, from the UK, I always get these little added Hasbro accessories. So I'm not even going to take that off. And sometimes when you look at the as a buyer, you got to make sure that the lettering on the side of the pants is legible, and that's going to help make the figure more valuable. Essentially, these figures by themselves, especially Samu is not that valuable of a figure. He is much more common for those buyers out there. He's essentially about a $15 figure. Now, Fatu, if you're looking for Fatu by himself, and I stupidly sold a Fatu not too long ago and I sold him by himself because I had head shrinkers together for like $40. Someone came in like, "Hey, can I buy Fatu by himself for like $15?" And I did it, thinking, okay, they're $40 for the pair, $20 a piece, $15 was fair. And I'm like, and Fatu is such a rare piece by himself. Normally, if you're gonna sell the head shrinkers together, $40 is like, bare minimum type of deal. But most people, when you look at like Mercari, eBay type of deal, they're trying to get like $60, $75 for the figures. But yeah, I think the plateau, the bottom line is like $40 for the pair if you could get them. But Samu is like a $15 figure. Fatu is going to be a little bit more. He's going to run you $25, $30 plus for that individual figure. And like I said, they're just jumpers. So, but when you look at figures like the Rockers from Series 2, they're very lightweight figures. And those figures, for whatever reason, they tip over like crazy. The head shrinkers are very top heavy. And very oddly, even though they're very top heavy, you would think that these things would fall over, but they don't. They stand up just fine. Like I don't think I've ever had any problems with these figures tipping over. You don't have to lean them over against anybody, and I find that very odd. Usually, you got to have a counterbalance. If the weight on the bottom is heavy, and then there's a lighter weight on top, yes, it's going to keep the weight up. But if there's more weight on the top, yeah, that's going to cause something to tip over. But that's the design of these are so weird. How often do top heavy figures not tip over? But the head shrinkers, they prove unique. So head shrinkers, like I said, even though they are jumpers, I don't mind the jumpers for these figures. I think that they are exceptional figures. For I think for jumpers, Kamala and the head shrinkers are probably a few of my absolute favorites. Perfect pose, great look. I like the design of the figures, so exceptional. And of course, we also have his tag team partner coming with the Fatu Flatner, Fatu, or Rikishi. I'm trying to think. Was That's why I hate people that take on different monikers, different names, man. I know Fatu was Rikishi, but was Haku one of them? I don't think so. Was he? You guys gotta correct me because I'm not obviously that old. I know Fatu was Rikishi. I don't know if he was any of the other guys. I don't think so. I'm almost positive he wasn't. I'm picturing Haku in my head, and I'm picturing this guy, and they look nothing alike, so I don't think so. But he's definitely Rikishi. I wasn't watching Rikishi. I only know him because, well, one, because of the collection, and I do have Rikishi figures, and B, because I've seen YouTube videos. But I don't think I was watching wrestling when Rikishi was wrestling. I don't think so, at least. Like I said, I stopped watching wrestling in around 97 ish. So I don't know when Rikishi changed over, but at least I was still watching wrestling when Fatu was active. And the thing that kind of stood out to me about the head shrinkers in general, they were very synonymous with having hard heads, so they would always be headbutting people and whatnot. It would be like headbutting like a steel wall or something. So when guys would sit there thinking that they were going to headbutt these guys and cause them pain, and then they would injure themselves like douchebags. Love it. Not anything different on this figure that you didn't see on the Samu figure. I mean, obviously there's some difference. The face is different, obviously. Samu obviously has the tongue out. Batu just has teeth. So that's the difference between the two figures. That if you're ever trying to tell them apart, Samu has tongue, shows tongue. So you can't tell the difference between the figures. Um, like I said, Batu is a much more valuable figure. He's think about the head shrinkers like the Steiner brothers. Samu and Scott Steiner are like $15 figures. Fatu and Rick Steiner are much more valuable, much more rare. They're like $30 plus figures. So again, I'm sorry that I had one and I had a Fatu, sold it for a very inexpensive price. And you guys know me. I talk about it all the time. I don't sit. I mean, I like to obviously sell things because I sell things for profit because I still consider it to be a business for me of sorts. I mean, obviously, I don't buy things to take losses. Um, I mean, obviously, I'd like to make money to pay bills and obviously to help buy more of my for my collection stuff. But I don't want to sit there and rip people off. I mean, if I'm buying a figure for $15, I don't want to turn around and sell it for 50. If I buy a figure for $15, I can sell it for 20. Hey, I just made money. I'm good. I'm happy with that. And if I could help somebody else get a great figure for a great price, I'm all for it. Help somebody out build up their collection. That makes me happy. So, why not? But you got to be smart as well. Helping somebody out at the same time doesn't mean you gotta hurt yourself. So that's how I gotta look at it. All right, so the best figures of the line, and not a top 10 figure for me, which sucks because this is a spectacular figure. And when I look at this figure, I'm like, he's got like how do I address this, man? He's got like 80s porno pants vibe to me. uh I don't know how else to describe it, but coming with the Genetti Jam is Marty Genetti. So I don't think they changed the head mold on this particular figure, but obviously they improved the figure, tenfold. Now, unlike most people, I actually really enjoy the original series two, Marty Jannetty. Now, in childhood, I said that the Rockers were the only tag team figures I had, and I played with the Rockers. I enjoyed the Rockers actually, and I thought that Marty Jannetty was a very fun go-to figure. I'm like, I used it like crazy because Shawn Michaels with the open hand and the backwards hand and whatnot. That wasn't, or was it backwards? Now his left hand was backwards, but that wasn't as fun. But Marty Jannetty, I mean, he was a good pose. He was a good playable figure. I always enjoyed using Marty Jannetty, so I never mind. I never minded having Marty Jannetty Series Two, but I say that the Series Two Rockers are bad figures because of, I guess, the hollowness of the figures, the fact that they're jumpers and they don't stand on their own. They're not top heavy or anything like that, like the head shrinkers. So the weight or the lack of weight, the hollowness keeps they're not steady on their feet essentially, right? But then you look at like a Series One Macho Man, a Series Five Rick Martel. You take the Series 10 margin, figures like this with these spectacular play poses. These are fun, good figures. Great stance, great arm separation, good playable fighting poses. Sticking with the same head mode, that's fine. It's still a good look, and I like the flashiness and like very 1980s. Like I said, with the colorful party pants, I call it, that he wears. So I don't mind. And this one, I don't know why this one doesn't have working action. I guess I never upgraded this figure because even though the action doesn't work, his color looks like it's pretty mint. So, do I have another Marginetti over here? No, I don't. That's fine. All the Series 10 Marty Jannetty's I've had, I've always sold. Like I said, doing these reviews, it shows me which figures I need to replace, but I'm not going to replace this. It's fine. You guys know what the pose is. It's just, that's the action feature. It's funny. As a kid, I loved Rockers. I watched the Rockers like crazy, but right after Shawn Michaels, betrayed Mario Jannetty, and I finally got a date. Like I think it was like January 15th. Well, at least I could say January 1991. So I was 6 years old. Actually, no, it was 1992. No, I thought I had a date. I thought I had a date. Now I lost the date. I know I had a date because it kept popping up on my Facebook page, the For You page. Maybe it was 1992 because 1991 January 91 I would have been 5 years old. A month before my sixth birthday, and that would have made me way too young. So I'm gonna say January 1992, which means I would have been 6 years old a month before my seventh birthday. That would have been more realistic. So January 1992, Shawn Michaels turns on Marty Jannetty, and I remember watching that. I think it was probably like a Saturday morning or something, and I remember watching that, and I'm like, my mind was blown as a kid. The Rockers, I love that group. Okay, and I freaking hated Shawn Michaels for that. Unbelievable. I remember watching Marty Jannetty when he obviously came back, and he was still wrestling, long after, um, in WWF. And I saw him a lot in WWF over the years because, like I said, I was still watching wrestling around 96, 97. But after the Rockers, I don't have a lot of memories of Marty. Not really. I don't remember a lot of single matches, and I probably caught him in a couple of Royal Rumbles here and there, but that's it. I don't have a lot of history, not really. So when I look at Series 10, it's why I say I don't have why I have like a sort of love hate relationship with the series. A lot of the figures here are amazing. With Shawn Michaels and the Giant Gonzalez and Marty Jannetty, but I outside of Shawn Michaels, I really don't know anything about a lot of these characters. Not really. Even Razor Ramon, who I watched a ton of, I don't have a lot of remembrance about a lot of these characters. Hmm. Next up, with the down and out blaster, we have Luke of the Bushwhackers. Now remember back in Series 2, this was Butch. Of course, in Series 10, they switch up the characters. Now, I don't know if I like that or if I hate that. I think I might would have preferred possibly if they stuck with the same characters. Reason being, at least it wouldn't be as confusing. So, but they switched up the characters and they put the head molds on different body poses. And you would also notice that in Series 10, they also added accessories. Now, there are customizers out there today who do put black hats for your Series 2 figures, but I don't think that's necessary. But if you want Series 2 black hats for your Bushwhackers, there are customizers who make them. You got to find the right customizer. Raheem Sadru, the guy that makes, these accessories. He's a great customizer to go through, but like I don't know if it's the same person or not because they always use the exact same photos. But there's a customizer I bought from several times. and I think they're in Kentucky. I bought from them in off of Mercari once. I bought from a couple of sellers on Etsy, different screen names. So I'm assuming that they're different people, but I don't know. They might be the same darn person. They're just using different counts. I don't know. Like I said, they're always the exact same photograph. Always the exact photograph. But it's some of the shoddiest crap that you've ever seen. Like lot of 21 custom Hasbro accessories, and you think this is freaking amazing. 21 accessories for $40. Sometimes you see it for $35. Sometimes you see it for like $20. And their accessories are the worst. It's like absolute trash. Throw your money in the garbage. It's better. But um, yeah, I'll make a video for you guys if you're ever interested. That way, if you want to know who I'm talking about, I can give you some clips to take a look at. But these figures are interesting, and I'll mention why in a split second. So, Luke of Bushwhackers. So, mint on card. I've sold the Bushwhackers Series 10 figures mint on card. I probably sold them maybe 125 $130 for an MOC figure, one figure, right? And you would think that one MOC figure should probably be 3 to 5 times the value minimum of probably both of these figures with even with accessory. And it's not like if you buy both Bushwhackers Series 10 with original accessory, and sometimes you can't even. I don't know if it even is original accessory, but if you get Bushwhackers Series 10 with the original accessory, you're probably paying that same price, about $125. Sometimes even up to like 150 for the pair. I'm like, that's insane. Now I don't think you're paying that for like one single figure, but if it ever comes to a time where you're paying $150 for one single figure with accessory, I'm like, forget that. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna pay that $120, $100, whatever, for a mint on card figure and just open up that than paying for a loose figure. That's just stupid. Like I've seen people like on auction from like a UK seller, right? They're paying like $50 for like a Big Boss Man Series One loose because it came with original nightstick. I'm like, dude, you could buy a Big Boss Man mint on card for less than $50. Uh, so I'm like, that's crazy. But the just like IRS and your Series Two Butch and your Series Two $1 Million Man, the Series 10 Luke, just another stomper figure, right? But a good looking figure, and the hat accessory. Yeah, man, this one fell off the shelf so many times, and you could tell because it's got a chip in the hat. That sucks. That hurts the value immensely. And it's got like a little. I didn't even realize. Well, maybe I did realize that they do have little holes in the back. Maybe I just haven't paid attention in a while. So I'm trying to think which ones I enjoy more: the Desert Storm color scheme version, or if I enjoy the black. I probably enjoy the black more because I enjoy dark colors, but I definitely appreciate the fact that they changed up the color scheme. And sometimes you can appreciate repaints. I always say that what you want to see different figures, different colors, different characters, but sometimes repaints are fun. I always say like Ultimate Warrior, for example. He's one of those characters where I don't mind seeing 10,000 different Ultimate Warriors because the Ultimate Warrior wore like 10 different face paints and different what do you call them, tassels and different trunks and stuff like that, right? So you don't mind seeing different characters because you want to see all the different looks that he possessed, right? So sometimes different paint schemes are fine, and this is a good looking character, good looking figure overall. So I'm fine with that. And of course, with the down and under pounder, we have Butch. Now with these particular figures, Luke in Series 2 and then Butch in Series 10. These particular figures that kind of come with this particular, dance positioning. That right there, these figures are always going to be more, I guess, rare-ish. So they're always going to be more valuable than the other figure that kind of comes with this particular positioning. So this particular figure will always be more valuable. But like if you're looking at Series 2 figures, it doesn't really matter. I mean, Series 2 Bushwhackers are not rare. They're not particularly valuable in any sense. You win them on auction for the tag team set. I mean, they could be the most mint figures ever. Series 2 figures are like anywhere between $2 to $10. I mean, I think you get $10 for them, you consider yourself lucky most of the time. Like I said, Series 10 figures, depending on the seller, if you can probably win one figure for as little as $20, if it is it going to be a mint figure for $20? Probably not. And like I said, that's got to be a new seller, or that's got to be a guy that doesn't specialize in selling action figures. It's got to be like a one-off, like I said before, like a guy that sells auto parts, and maybe he's just found one random action figure and he's selling it type of deal. But and it sucks because whenever I look around eBay and Mercari and I see the Bushwhackers, even without accessory, and people are selling them for like over $100. And I've had the Bushwhacker Series 10, and I've sold them on my eBay, and I've sold them for like $50. Not even $50. I think I sold them for like $40 or $45, man. And we're not talking auction. We're talking like buy it now type of deal. And it's not that I don't know the value. Of course I know the value of the figures. I try to price my figures for something that I know people are willing to pay for the items. And it sucks because you always underpriced items and people are always watching it like, dude, my items are already lower than everyone else. Why are you watching it? If you're interested, go ahead buy it. Or you underprice it 10,000 times lower than everybody else and people still want to come with an offer lower than what you're listing it for. It's like, dude, this is insane. But whatevs. Um I always talk about the bushwhackers and I always talk about COVID and I always laugh my butt off about it. um we all know bushwhackers are famous for coming down the aisle, right? Doing their dance, doing their little dance. As a kid, that cracked me up, right? Um, and they always walk around the ring licking the faces of the fans. And I'm like, I would love, I would freaking kill to see that modern day, to see that in the 2020s, to see some freaking Karen freak out. Oh my God, I was sexually assaulted by the bushwhackers. Oh my freaking God. The bushwhackers would be canceled so freaking quickly. And then you would have like all these millions of people, I mean, obviously come to their defense and whatnot. It's like, dude, grow the hell up. It's for entertainment, dude. Seriously. Oh, God. And of course, during the time of COVID when, 6 feet away, cover your face and all that. Stop spreading germs. Stop looking. Oh God. Bushwhackers were crazy fun when you were a kid. I've said it before. I enjoyed the Bushwhackers when I was young. It's just that when you grow up and you kind of like watch these old Royal Rumble matches and stuff, right? And you see the Bushwhackers come in, and I love Royal Rumble tournaments, right? It's my favorite sporting event. But when Bushwhackers come in and it's like, hey, let me let me grab you by the back of the head. Now let me walk you over to the other side of the ring, and let me just gently throw you over the ropes. And 0.4 seconds later, you're eliminated. It's like it's a waste of a roster spot. I hate that. So I enjoyed the Bushwhackers when I was young, but I could not. I can't stand them as an adult. So guys like the Bushwhackers, I don't enjoy in adulthood. I don't enjoy Coco Beware in adulthood. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I enjoyed him as a kid, but from adult perspective, no. Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, back in WrestleMania 3. If you talk to me as a kid, that was the greatest match that ever existed. My entire life, I always thought so. I watched that match maybe a year or two ago, and or watched it for the first time in forever. And oh my god, I sat back and I'm like, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. I was ready to drown myself. I was so bored. Oh god, it was so terrible. But I mean, you're not going to hate on Andre the Giant because, at that point, injuries had really taken its toll on his body, right? I mean, outside of headbutting and chopping and getting someone into the ropes and booty busting, I mean, really, what else could he do at that point? Outside of bear hugging and holding someone in the middle of the ring for 20 minutes. Well, who could possibly be worse at wrestling than Andre the Giant at that particular point in time? Well, a question I just saw on Facebook last night was who is potentially one of the worst wrestlers in history? And most definitely someone identified this man. And that is the Giant Gonzalez. I don't know, man. I think this guy just doesn't get enough credit. I mean, like, you're way up here and you got to reach way down here to grab somebody. It's kind of hard to wrestle somebody when when you're the giant and you got to face Jack. Okay, so the giant Gonzalez, he has the giant jab, and I swear to God, the giant Gonzalez has one of my favorite photographs of the Hasbro's. He is just a scary looking dude. I absolutely love this photograph. And most people absolutely despise the sort of I don't know what you call it. I call it bear suit kind of that he had, but as a kid, I freaking loved that look. That built on muscular look with like the fur and everything. I mean, they're supposed to like it's supposed to represent abs, like killer abs and muscular tone and everything. Maybe he wasn't like overly you know built and everything. Like he was supposed to look like the Ultimate Warrior or Lex Luger or something, but whatever. I liked it. I thought it was an awesome look. To this day, I still think it was an awesome look. People hate on it. I loved it. Okay, he had the right size for it. He looked like a darn beast. I loved that. I loved Andre. I loved the Giant Gonzalez, but he 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 did not last in WWF for long, and a lot of wrestlers, they hated on him. Undertaker, he wrestled him many times. He always does little shooting reels about how Jorge Gonzalez was one of the worst wrestlers, and even he couldn't make him look good. The Giant Gonzalez, I mean, the Giant Gonzalez has easily one of the top 10 greatest Hasbro figures ever made. And here's the thing about the Giant Gonzalez figure. I think that nobody owned this figure when they were kids. And if they did own it, they never played with it. Because I swear to God, anytime you find this figure on auction, anytime you find this figure online and you acquire one, it is always 100% of the time in 100% mint condition. You will never find a Giant Gonzalez figure that is doesn't have jet black hair, that has broken fingers, that doesn't have strong arms or working action, that has paint loss. It's perfect every time. I've owned several Giant Gonzaleses. I have never come across a Giant Gonzalez figure that wasn't in mint condition every time. So it's weird, man. You know what? I put this belt on this guy. I did not even realize that this is one of the WWF championship belts. I mean, I've got several of these type of belts, but I put this belt on him long time ago. I probably put this belt on him back in like 2021, 2022. But I've got several WWF belts, and the ones that I do have actually have the gold or silver filled in. So, um, but the ones that I do have the spares there for my, I actually have them wrapped around the actual WWF rings, and they're not for sale or anything. They're just like I said, they're they're part of the display for the actual WWF rings that I have, and but like I said, John Gonzalez, a top 10 best Hasbro figure, and I think he fell off my top five. I think he's like number six now, I think, or so. But one of the most greatest figures, period. I mean, I love this figure. I really wish they made this one look more like his real life look with the actual built on abs and everything. Because here they just put like the fur on the side, and everything, but they didn't have like the little cloth look with the abs. They just look like they gave him actual abs and everything. Um, they gave him actual abs. They didn't make it look like it's like built on cloth or anything. So that's what kind of sucks about the figure itself. But other than that, it's perfect. Like Skinner and the Ultimate Warrior, the way that the arms are separated. The see if I could do this right here. Yeah, that didn't work too well. So let's try it this way. Yep, I should have done it this way the first time around. How did I have this? I think I had it this way. Who was it? Was it a Harvey Whippleman, I believe? Talk about having a surprise for Undertaker, and I want to say the '93 Royal Rumble. That sounds about right. '93, because I think '93 is when Yokozuna won the Royal Rumble. So yeah, that sounds about right. And obviously, Whippleman wanted payback against the Undertaker because of what Undertaker did to Kamala, putting him in the darn pine box and everything, his coffin. And so bringing in this massive giant, someone that had the ability to actually instill fear and have the power to take down the Undertaker. Man, I don't care how big freaking Yokozuna was. Undertaker was going to win that darn Royal Rumble. Undertaker came into that Rumble and he cleared shop. Okay, um, the way that he was cleaning house, Oh yeah, Yokozuna. Anyone else that came in, he had it. He had it in the bag. But then you sent in this massive giant who just came out of nowhere and just destroyed him. And I watched it, and I'm like, I think pretty much everybody had the exact same reaction. It was like one of the coolest freaking things you'd ever seen. I love that. That was like one of the best moments in wrestling history right there. At least for me, it was. Giant Gonzalez, Jorge Gonzalez is actually a pretty sad story in general. Um, when he died, he died poor, and he was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, and I don't think he made the team. So Ted Turner, he had this 8-foot monster, and he's like, you know what? I got this guy that's 7'7", 400 pounds. Let me bring him over to WCW. Let's see what kind of wrestler I can turn him into. I mean, I think he spent like a couple years in WCW, and then finally he came over to WWF. I didn't watch WCW. I didn't know anything about him in WCW. My first introduction to Jorge Gonzalez was in World Wrestling Federation, right? So, but less than a year, I think, in WWF. I mean, he got an action figure, so I mean, he had some accolades, but I think he really should have had a much longer run, much greater push. It sucks when got the sniffles. It sucks like you see him in like a battle royal, and the battle royal just starts, and like 50 people get up on you, and you're out in like half a second. I'm like, I want to see the Giant Gonzalez do some damage in a battle royal. There's some people like Yokozuna and the Giant Gonzalez, guys like Andre the Giant, guys like that, those big guys. You want to see them going, you want to see them dominate. And then when you see them get eliminated that quickly, it's like boring. You want to see Hulk Hogan come in and or the Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage. You want to see guys that you or the Undertaker. You want to see Kane come in just left and right, just thrusting everybody out. But imagine they come in and they're eliminated 5 seconds later. It's like, well, that was a complete waste. So now that wasn't good. But all right, let's move on. Hmm. So, getting his second release in the run, we are coming with the Razor Rage. Is Razor Ramon, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that is his same picture from Series 7. And unlike the other figures in the series, when you look at the other figures that we just looked at, the other 6 figures, it only had 6 figures on the back of the card, right? Now, when you look at the back of this figure, look at that. So you got Series 5 on here, you got Series 7. So you got Series 5 Hogan, and then you got Series 7. You got Series 5 Macho Man IRS. You got Series 6. So you got a bunch of Series 5, 6, and 7 all mixed in there. Not all of the figures, of course, but a good chunk of them. So it's kind of weird. Like you have 5 Hogan up here, but then you got like 5 down here IRS. And Macho Man IRS. And then you go to 6 here. And then more 6 here. But up here you got 7. So that's weird, man. But Razor Ramon getting his second release in purple. And this one is not pristine. So this one is actually going to be missing a lot of the color. But yeah, so this is like, and one thing I've noticed, I didn't give a good, I haven't been giving prices on some of these figures. So I think I did prices on head shrinkers. I did prices on bushwhackers. Marty Jannetty, I would say Marty Jannetty is about a $20 figure. You could probably go as high as about $30 on auction for that figure. But I would say generally he hovers around $25. Would be a good starting point. Um, Giant Gonzalez, I would say a good fair price is around $20, but I've seen that price go a lot higher. Again, I'd say that is probably a good $20-$30. So I think you're good on those two figures around the a good 20-30 bucks. So Razor Ramon, Razor Ramon by himself, even when you look at this figure, even though he's got paint loss, and I'm looking at it, and he doesn't even have like he's got paint around the knees missing or paint around the toes, right? He is missing lettering, like massive lettering. When you look at his trunks, he doesn't have the word razor there, and even his knee pads. I don't know if you can see it on here. His knee pads are supposed to be filled in. So this one it isn't a good figure. But am I going to replace this? Most likely not, because Purple Razor Ramon is crazy expensive, and I'm just not wasting the money on it. Not necessary. And I've had other Purple Razor Ramones that I've sold. Were they in better condition than this? Probably, probably not. Um, yeah. I mean, if it was like slightly faded, it'd be fine. But and I'm pretty sure you're supposed to have like something on the back as well. But I'm good. Yeah, I'm thinking this chain was a custom. Because when you look at the chain and you're looking at the original, I'm thinking the chain was a custom as well. That doesn't look original at all. Whatever. But Razor Ramon by himself, purple, $60. I mean, even in this condition, I would still say that this is like a $60 figure. I mean, everything I just showed you based on that, the graphics. If you're looking graphic wise, filled incomplete, anywhere between $60 $75 for Razor Ramon purple, probably more. Probably some people are probably going to have that figure for about $100. If you're looking at a chain with the original accessory, I could see a purple Razor Ramon with original accessory hovering anywhere between $125 to $200. I mean, think about this: mint on card purple Razor Ramon is probably going to set you back somewhere in the $350 price range. So if a mint on card's $350, it's easy to see a good loose figure going for around $150 potentially. So, but Razor Ramon, this is his second version, and of course, we already know he also had his original variant re-released on blue card. Now, back in Series 7, this exact figure was released on purple. It was released on yellow card, but for whatever reason, Hasbro decided to release the exact same figure once again on blue card. Now, you got a re-release or you got a brand new figure in purple. Why do they have to release this exact figure again in the same exact series? It made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So, but here the figure is, and when I look at the back of this card, literally the exact same information. Now I'm with the exact same picture, exact same card back. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at everything. I'm thinking maybe they just had an excessive amount of trying to get out of that light. Maybe they just had an excess amount of blue card backs. Yeah, maybe they had an overstock of Black Razor Ramones. And if they had an excess of Black Razors, well, maybe this gave them ample opportunity to kind of get rid of their excess. I don't know. So, let me put this belt back on. Not gonna do a whole lot of show off for this one. I mean, I just pulled this from my Series 7 loose display. Now, this one, come on, Velcro. At least this one actually does have some, fill in. And this is exactly what the purple Razor Ramon is supposed to look like, right? With the razor on the back. I mean, even this one isn't good because it doesn't have the fill in on the trunk or the knee pads. But at least you could see the back there. So, all right. My hardcore champion. All right. Also getting his third release in the series or third release in the line. Coming with the conceded crunch, we're getting Shawn Michaels. Now, Shawn Michaels is one of only a very few select characters to actually get three figures in the line. Now, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, $1 Million Man, Crush, and I think Shawn Michaels. I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's any other people that got three figures in the series or in the line. Once again, Hogan, Savage, Warrior, $1 Million Man, Crush, and Warrior, and Shawn Michaels. I'm almost positive that was it. Six people. Thinking. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else that got three or more figures. I mean, there are a lot of people that got two figures, but three or more, no. I think that was it. But Black Shawn Michaels, this is my fourth favorite Hasbro figure. And me, I love dark colors. So anything that's black or dark gray, I'm a fan of. And putting black with the silver, I love it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the white and red Shawn Michaels, absolutely. But this is a fantastic look. And that's why I keep saying some repaints I'm okay with. But like when you look at some of these new lines, like zombie sailors, grapplers and gimmicks, sometimes I'm like, some repaints are fine, but a lot of times when you're just repainting the same figures just so that you can make money off of completionists like myself, that's just taking advantage of your buyers, and I'm like, I hate that. But this right here, this is amazing. This is such an awesome figure, and kind of keeping in line with what they did with Razor Ramon, the exact same card, and literally the exact same card backing, right? So the same setup with the release of the characters. Yeah, I think they did. They gave him the same thing, white and red pants. Shawn over here. So that's the Shawn Michaels, and of course, my most expensive figures, acrylic case. And I'm not going to take this out. And coming with the conceited crunch, which is just very another easy. So with this particular Shawn Michaels, the Series 10 Shawn Michaels, I put him in the exact same bubble that I put the Series 8 Bret Hart. Generally, if this was like if this was 2022, and this is what drives me nuts. I think that in 2022, I was buying or I was collecting at a time when everybody was collecting. Now, I don't think that the only people collecting nowadays are people who've already collected or who have already finished collecting, and now all they're doing is collecting for the sole purpose of reselling. So they're not collecting to buy for their collection. They're collecting for the purpose of reselling so that they can obviously make a profit. So, well, Shawn Michaels. In 2022, a loose Shawn Michaels, not carded, okay? Think about that. Not even a carded Shawn Michaels, but a loose figure would regularly sell on auction. Not even a buy it now. A freaking auction would sell for $250. How insane is that? A piece of plastic, a 4-inch piece of plastic, would sell for $250 regularly. Nowadays, I think that this figure would probably go for like $90. It's not that the figure has lost value or anything. I just think that everybody that was interested in this figure were all going at for it at the exact same time. And now that everybody that wanted the figure has it, and now everybody that's buying it nowadays, they're not paying $250 for the figure. They're paying $100. Why? Because they're gonna buy it for $100 and they're gonna try and sell it for like 150, 175. They're going to wait for new sellers or new buyers to come in, and they're going to wait for those people to come in and buy it for 150, $200 so they can make a profit. Because yes, eventually there will people out there again who are going to pay that price. They're going to sit on it and they're going to wait. So people are stockpiling figures like this. So, like I said, I put the Series 10 Shawn Michaels and I put the Series 8 Bret Hart in the same bubble. Generally, I look at look at the two figures as about $125 figures. I think that's their value, about $125. With the right seller, you can get them for around $75 to $90 if you're lucky. But you really have to count your blessings if that happens. That's really going to be like a miracle. And for that price, I mean, there's got to be something wrong with it. Like the arms are super loose. There's like a lot of paint loss. Like on this figure, for example, if there's like a lot of paint loss on the gloves or something, maybe you could get around say $590. But we look at a figure like this, mint, pristine condition. Yeah, for this figure, I'm pretty sure I paid up on this thing. How much did I pay up on this? I don't know. 150, 250. Shoot, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I paid a fortune on this darn thing. Yeah, this is a beauty. Uh, this, yeah, this was a small fortune right here. I'm pretty sure, but a figure like this was absolutely worth it. This is when I talk about figures that I would be comfortable paying up on, and I've talked about like a Series 8 Yokozuna because that's something that to me that is actually valuable, in my opinion. I think a Series 10 Shawn Michaels is one of those few items in Hasbro that is worth the investment. So, but like I said, if you're an interested buyer, keep the $125 price range in your mind. I think that's about the going rate for Series 10 Shawn Michaels. Oh yeah, let me just give you another glimpse, a little bit more up close, because this is one of my all-time favorite figures. I kind of want to And another thing you gotta pay attention to, obviously, you gotta make sure that the anchor tattoo is really filled in, and not just the gloves and pants and everything, but sunglasses and anchor, the gloves. You gotta make sure that's all looking sharp if you want the most complete figure. All right. Of Series 10 is the re-release of Shawn Michaels. Now again, Series 7, yellow card, white pants, Shawn Michaels. But just like they did with Razor Ramon, re-released the black Razor Ramon. Well, guess what? They're re-releasing white Shawn Michaels. So I'm not putting two Shawn Michaels on my loose display. So I just pulled my Series 7 Shawn Michaels for loose display for this particular video. Some people prefer the white pants Shawn Michaels to the black, which is fine. Like I said, I love both these figures. They're both absolutely amazing. And, it's kind of weird that I would say, like, black Shawn Michaels is like a $125 figure, but white Shawn Michaels is like a $30 figure. I mean, they're like the exact same figure, right? And and I think like I said, today's market pits the white Shawn as like a anywhere between like a $50 to $75 figure. I mean, has the market really gone up that much, or is are people just like overpricing the figure? I don't know. The last Shawn Michaels I sold to someone who came to the house, and I sold him for like $30. Wait, did he come to the house, or was it? No, I'm trying to think. No, I didn't sell to him. Um, I sold it to someone that off of Facebook that wanted it, and he bought it. And he asked me what I wanted for it. I said $30, and I thought I was gonna have to come down to like 25, 24, something like that. And he's like, he jumped on. I'm like, oh shoot, but and that darn figure was mint like crazy. I'm like, nowadays I regret it because, like I said, looking on eBay and Facebook or eBay and Mercari and all these different things, Facebook and whatnot, like people are selling it $50, $60, 75. Like, but it is one of the best figures. If I go out and I buy a bundle of figures and I get any more Shawn Michaels, I'm probably gonna keep it for myself. It's nice to have spares. Would I want it for resale? Probably not. Well, what about what other people out there who might want it? That's tough. If somebody wants it, it's like an actual collector who reaches out to me, hey, do you have it? And I've done business with them before. I'll make sure I'll take care of them because when people, cause I like I said, it's why I make these videos, right? I make these videos because I try to take care of people, um, make sure that they have the knowledge that they need to make good decisions, so that they're not being ripped off. So I don't want people to be taken advantage of, being ripped off. So someone reaches out to me directly, if I have something to sell to them or whatnot, I'll make sure that they're taken care of one way or another. So it's just that I like the figures, so that's just why I'd like to have others available. But it's just that a good condition Shawn Michaels like this, they're expensive, so you can't just go out and spend $50 and be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep that for myself and not sell it. That's just crazy. Now, if I'm picking up, I don't know, if I'm picking up, let's say a Series Two, I don't know, Macho King, you can do that all day because Macho Kings aren't expensive, right? So, but that is it for this series. Uh, just back up a little bit, guys. After this video, later on tonight, I am going to post a new poll. So go on to my YouTube community page and you will see that poll. I'm going to ask that question. If you are interested in a new show on Tuesdays, what kind of show are you going to be interested in? And I'm going to probably put up like maybe 5 different topics. AWA Remco's, LJN Wrestling Superstars. I'm going to ask about the WCW Galoobs. Maybe original San Francisco Toymakers, WCW figures. Um, I'm trying to look at lines that I have that are complete. So like I've got probably 130 if I throw in the double teams and the triple team box sets, probably 175 or so of the Jack's Classic Superstars. But I mean, I probably won't do a line like that because there's like over 500 box sets, right? And I don't have loose figures. All I have is the box sets. So I probably won't I won't do anything like that. I want to do figures that I have both loose and carded. So that's why I always pick those respective toy lines. Um, we could also do toy lines that are more modern. You know, zombie sailors, grapplers, and gimmicks. We can do Cella toys again. Trying to look at something else. Big rubber guys. We could do something like that. So I'm gonna probably give you a list of different toy lines, and if anything else, if it's not up there, go into the comments. Type in a line that you might be interested in, and type it in, and we could do something like that as well. So, but I'm gonna give a bunch of different options, and you guys get the option to vote. And if you vote one time, like, hey, I want to vote for Cella Toys, but I would like to see grapplers and gimmicks. Go into the comments and say, hey, I voted for Cella Toys, but I want to see grapplers and gimmicks as well. You know, or this is my second choice, my third choice in the comments, and that'll help me kind of dictate what's the most preferential to for new shows and whatnot. And Hasbro will also be up there. Obviously, we've just completed Hasbro, or we're going to complete Hasbro, but the custom show will be a possibility. All right, guys, that is it for now. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care, everybody.